Hey everyone, Pete here, and welcome to another Rugged Outdoors Guide DIY project. Today we're going to be talking about a fishing crate for a kayak, or a kayak crate. I really enjoy kayak fishing. I haven't been doing it for too long, but it's one of the things that I'm just kind of getting into a little bit now, and I'm noticing there are some things that I need, and boy, if you go to Amazon and get everything you need ready-made, you're going to be spending, I don't know, probably in the thousands for what you would like to have for your kayak. So I'm going to tell you how to make your own. I'm not the first to do this, but I've got a bit of a twist on mine, maybe a little more information than you'll find on the average. So let's just start off right away and say that we're looking at a crate, a milk crate, okay? Now, as far as I'm concerned, they should be free. You might have some lying around the house. You can probably get them at a thrift store, but if you have to go online and buy them, I mean, I guess that's okay, but it can cost you, like, I know in Canada it's like 40 or 50 bucks, and if you get one that nests maybe like two of them, you're looking at close to 100 bucks. So it shouldn't be more than a few dollars really, but that's just kind of the reality of it. So the best thing is to find a used or just a second-hand actual milk crate, and you need two, and they need to nest nicely into each other or stack nicely. That's step one. Okay, step number two, you got to create a lid for the top of the box. You don't really have to, but if you want it to look a little more authentic and kind of like the ones you can buy ready-made, a lid is a good thing to have. Plus it allows for not only storage in the box, but you can store things on top of the lid. So here's how to make the lid. It's really easy. You're going to need your second box for this, all right? And you're going to need that second crate for actually two things, right? So let's talk about the first one here, the lid. Okay, so what you're going to do, this is just another one I've got lying around. Basically what you do is you're cutting off the bottom of it. So it stacks nicely. See, it stacks. And I'm not using the blue one, I'm just using it as an example. I would cut off, in this case, because this is solid right here, I would cut it just above that, right around the whole box. So this would leave about, I think this is close to about 5 inches. The one I did is closer to about 2.5 or 3 inches, but that just depends on the style of the box. So you would quite literally take the box and run it through a table saw at this level all around, at the same kind of level. If you don't have a table saw, there are other saws. You can just do it manually. It's just maybe a little bit longer and harder and maybe a little bit messier. And when you're done cutting that, you're going to want to kind of clean the edges up a bit, because things are really sharp and hard, and they can draw blood if you're not really careful. So you can use anything for that will work. So for example, I've used a palm sander with a fairly heavy grit paper on it to make the kind of the top of the I don't know how well, hopefully you can see it, the edges around the top, they're really sharp, and so you need something to dull them, all right? So just maybe even a file would work. All right, so the next step after that is to take this bottom. So I'm now using the one, I'm showing you the one that I actually did. This was the bottom of the second crate, and of course it nests nicely into the crate because they stack nicely. But you've got to find a way to attach this to the crate. So what I did, really simply, I just drilled a hole, 3 of them actually, where the two crates come together. There's a lip, and it will always be this way no matter what crates you're using, so you can always do this. I drilled 3 holes, and I just put a piece of wire through it. I mean, and I just made it like a round loop, and I just kind of twisted it, and that's all you need. I mean, you're not going to be touching it or playing with it or anything, but you just need to keep the lid on, and that's all you really need. There are a lot of things you can do, a lot of different things, but I just try to keep it really simple. All right, so the next step can be optional for you. It was mandatory for me. So you can see if this fits for you. On the back of my kayak, where this box is supposed to sit, I have a steering mechanism. I've got a rudder that I use, a hand-controlled kind of rudder, and I've got a pedal kayak, and so you've got to steer it, and the steering mechanism on my particular model is exposed. It's not on all kayaks. Sometimes it doesn't even exist, or it's underneath the polyethylene shell. Mine is exposed, and if this crate were to sit on top of it, the rudder wouldn't work. I couldn't control it. There's resistance. So in other words, I had to take this crate and raise it up from the bed of the kayak where this is going to sit, behind the paddler, or behind the angler, the seat. So what I did was I came up with a couple ideas, but one of them I came up with too late. And so what I did was I just got some, you can use wood and then seal it so it doesn't, rot, but I use sort of these plastic risers or spacers, and they're about an inch or slightly less than an inch in depth, and I just simply screwed them into the bottom. All right, it's fairly easy to do, but you've got to be careful with your screws that you're hitting something, because there's a lot of empty spaces down here. All right, so that was one thing. In retrospect, if I had known the second method, I would have used that instead, because I already had that ready-made. And I learned this from one of my readers in my blog, and they explained this to me, that this is what they did, and I really appreciate that tip. And what they did was they took remember I told you, you've cut this piece, your lid, from another crate. Now you've got 3/4 of another crate sitting there, and it's kind of useless as a crate because there's no bottom on it, right? So if you take the top of that crate, which I did right here, take the top of that crate and cut however many inches. In this case, I cut a chunk from the top, about 3 inches or so. And these hand holes right here, there's 4 of them. They are the perfect size to fit over the particular steering mechanism that I have on my kayak. And so right under one of these hand holes is where the mechanism moves. So it's perfect. And of course they all nest, right? So even though I have these 4 spacers on, I can still put it in here if I wanted to, and it nests quite nicely. It looks better, I think. So I might just do that. So I now have 2 built-in options, but I would say maybe don't even bother with these spacers. Just use the top of your other crate, so you use as much of it as possible, right? So that's the way to go, to raise it up if you have to, but not all of you are going to have to. Okay, so the next step would be to find a way to keep this lid down. Okay, the easiest thing, this is so easy the way I did it. You can be a little bit more fancy and technical if you want, but what I did was on the lip of my lid, I just used a piece of plastic. It's actually the same material as I used on the bottom of my crate, and I screwed a screw into it from the inside of the lid. And then on the outside, the screw has a big head on it. It's not a wood screw. I'm not even sure what kind it is, but it had a bigger head, or you can have a washer on it, whatever. It can be just about any type of screw that has any sort of a head on it that can hold a bungee cord. And I found a really short bungee cord that I applied to the front through a couple little holes that I drilled, and it won't fall out because I've kind of crimped the ends of the bungee sort of removable cord. It has those metal hooks on it. Well, I crimp those tight so that it doesn't fall off, and then you just kind of pull it up and bring it over the edge, and it goes around the screw on the inside, and now it doesn't open. All right, so it's just right. It's not super tight, but it's just what you need, and it's easy to open and close, like take on and off. Okay, so officially the last main step that you need to take to be ready to go on the water is to secure this crate into the back of your kayak. Now, every kayak has those crisscross, bungee cords behind the main seat. and you're going to need those. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do this because everyone is going to be different. All of you have a different configuration back there. You've got different lengths of cord, the bungee cord that's meant to secure stuff in the back of your kayak. So I'm just going to give you the general principle. This is what I did. On my crate, all I did was get a couple of just kind of cheapo little dollar store, quite literally dollar store carabiners, and they are more than adequate. They're infinitely stronger than you need, but anyway, that's all I could get at the dollar store. And I put a couple of them, actually just two of them, one on each side. So one right here and one over here on this side, doesn't matter which side, however you want to do it. And then I just attached the cord, the bungee cord that came with the kayak behind the seat. I made it such that they just fit right through each of these. One on each side was adequate. Mine are not particularly tight because I'm not doing, you know, white water or anything crazy like that. I don't plan to ever tip. I just want, you know, I want to secure it in there like any, you know, it would just be prudent to have it attached somehow. So mine probably wouldn't fall in even if I didn't attach it, but this is the smart thing to do, attach it to a set of carabiners or some sort of clips that you might have on hand already. And that really is all there is to it. The only thing that I didn't tell you about, because I haven't done it yet, I will soon, but I will attach a couple of rod holders to the side or the back of this crate once they come in. I've ordered them, they're not here yet. And again, you can make your own as well from PVC piping and all that stuff. I'm all about DIY, but hey, they're really cheap to buy. So sometimes I do my own, sometimes I buy whatever. All right, guys, that's really all there is to it to make your own DIY kayak crate. If you have any ideas that I maybe haven't touched on, maybe a better way to do certain things, please do give me a comment. And if it's a helpful comment, I will certainly publish it so that others will learn and grow from your comment. Maybe have make even a better box. All right, thank you guys for watching. Please do give me a like and a subscribe. Of course, it helps me, and it doesn't really affect you, but it also lets you know when I'm coming. If you hit the notification bell, you'll know when I'm coming out with a new video. We're going to do a number of really cool trip documentaries, canoe trip documentaries this summer, as well as a couple of kayak fishing excursions, which is why I've got this thing ready to go. Thanks again, guys, for watching, and until the next time, get out there and enjoy God's creation and keep on looking up.